Beastars Volume 10 Manga Review. Finally back with another manga review video. This is Kite562. As always, these manga reviews will have some spoilers within them, so you have been warned. So sit back, relax, and just listen to what I have to say. Now, with the first point from the manga that I want to talk about today, both carnivores and herbivores have financial struggles in the back alley market. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about this scene, but it starts off with the Shishigumi just doing business as usual, and we come to realize that both carnivores and herbivores have financial struggles within the back alley market itself, and the way that it was just really depicted, it was just brutal, and I cannot look the same way at little chipmunks or hamsters, whatever you want to call them. So that's that. It's a scene that deals with a caiman lizard, and all you see are just these tattoos on him marking about what part of him has like what sort of nutritional value to either a carnivore or a herbivore. And I just thought that was really sad, because it really reminds me of how like regular cattle gets like branded or like marked for like slaughtering within a, butcher shop, a giant industrial slaughterhouse, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it was really heartbreaking just because I love reptiles so much. So but I'm not going to go into detail of that scene. It's just the way that that caiman lizard was treated. I feel really bad for him and what he had to go through just to make ends meet. It turns out that he owed some money to a mafia or something like that. Might be the Dokugumi, I think it was, for the lizards. Maybe. I don't know. It didn't really go into detail, but I just thought that was a really eye-catching scene within that chapter. But I just find it funny that Ibuki tried to cover Louis' eyes as to what was going on within that scene. So it was just absolutely great and wonderful to see that Ibuki was acting like a total dad in this volume to Louis. So, and by the way, Louis is 18 and not 20, so Ibuki still sees Louis as young, even though Louis is the boss of the Shishigumi. Alright. My next point is, Louis says he's independent as the boss of the Shishigumi. Now, he might think that's true, but Ibuki tries to, I don't know, open up to him that Ibuki was sold to the back alley market at 12 years old because like one part of his arm, like right here, I want to say, either this arm or this arm, has the tattoo of energy on it. Or it might be this part of the arm. So, who knows? I just thought it was a really touching moment between Ibuki and Louis, and it's just really great. Oh. Anyway, like I said in point 4, Ibuki was sold to the back alley market at 12 years old. And if I'm wrong in the comments, please let me know down in the comments below. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm only human. So I really enjoyed rereading this chapter. And as always, these manga reviews will have spoilers. It's just, I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. The next point I want to talk about is a more training session with Gohan. We get back to Legoshi's side of things, where he ends up eating a live moth larva, and it's just this otherworldly euphoric experience that Legoshi's going through. Like, he's really struggling to do this. He manages to eat it, but he ends up getting thrown into this vision of like being face to face with this massive moth, and the moth ends up saying, we don't have like any earthly desires or anything, we just value respect of life, or respect for life, which I thought was really interesting, and it really reminded me of the teachings of Buddhism, which I thought was really fascinating. It's really great to see how Paru integrates like certain teachings and beliefs of like different religions within this manga, so subtly, but not like boom in your face right then and there. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. I just thought the way that this moth was like illustrated and drawn out, plus the little doodle at like the left side of the page of volume 10. So this manga keeps on getting more and more beautiful with each and every volume that goes on, and I just really enjoyed this series. Well, I'm enjoying this series as a whole. And after eating that larva moth, Legoshi ends up with his all of his fur grown back on with no problem. And I just thought this concept was really fascinating. Like, what would happen if Legoshi were to, commit predation? How would that turn out? I don't know. And I just think it's just gonna be going from Super Saiyan 3 to like Super Saiyan, Blue God, Super Saiyan. If I get that terminology wrong, I get it wrong. I haven't watched or read DBZ in years, so I know Dragon Ball Super's out there and it exists, but I just got straight up DBZ vibes from it, like different power levels of like certain levels of predation, vice versa, whatever. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands here. So, point 7, we go back to more Haru and Legoshi's time at Cherryton, since Haru wanted to spend some time with Legoshi and just open up to him more. And funny enough, the more Haru likes Legoshi, the more Haru worries about Louis. Now, in volume 6, I think Haru got a call from Louis, but he instantly hung up on Haru. So, yeah, it's just the more and more times Haru opens up to Legoshi, the more that she worries about Louis. Now, she's done with Louis. According to her, she doesn't have any more feelings for him, but like, herbivores in this world really have to look out for each other. It's kind of a team effort kind of thing. Like, you have different strengths of herbivores, different sizes of herbivores, same thing with carnivores, and having that buddy system in place within their society is very, very needed in my opinion. So, I mean, you have little mice running around within the walls to get to their classes, just shorter herbivore students with like different size doors of Cherryton Academy. So it's just, it's the little things that really intrigue me with how this manga is illustrated within like the early volumes and everything. At least volumes 1 through 6, I think. If I get that wrong, I get that wrong. So anyway, my next point is that, again, from volume 9, Legoshi finds out who the killer is. So spoiler warning, Riz is turned out to be the one who devoured Tim. Now, I know I struggled a lot trying to hide it within my volume 9 review, but I'm just going to say it out here. If I get flamed in the comments, I get flamed. Riz is the one who ate Tim, because Riz thinks that getting more closer to a herbivore, you have to devour their flesh, which, in my opinion, is not true. I do not agree with it. So, anyway, him and Legoshi decide to have their final battle on New Year's Eve. I think at like a bridge near the back alley market, if I remember correctly. So yeah, back in volume 9, there was like this flashback of Tim and Riz. So like after Riz stopped taking his meds, his muscle suppressant meds, he just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger until Tim couldn't handle him, and Tim ends up getting his arm scratched like from volume 1 and just running into the hallway and into the drama like observation lecture hall room thing. Let's just call it a lecture hall. Like just a big projector lecture hall. Just Tim ends up meeting his end there, and Riz, in his mind, thought that Tim wanted to be devoured, and he ends up having a flashback within the manga showing that Tim was like trying to hug Riz, and I think Tim was saying he wasn't afraid of Riz anymore. And then in volume 9 you just see this panel of Riz just covered in blood after just eating his supposedly best friend. But yeah, Legoshi and Riz end up deciding to have their battle on New Year's Eve. Now, it starts within the drama club, I want to say guy's dressing room or locker room, whatever you want to call it. And then round one just starts right then and there. Legoshi takes off his shirt and just swipes Riz's honey bottle out of his hand, and Riz just ends up going fucking berserk, and his eyes kind of slightly roll back into his, like you just see the whites of his eyes and just the detail of his fangs, like drool and everything. It's just absolutely great. So I'm really enjoying this series. So like the fight starts off in the drama club boys locker room, and then it opens up to the boys shower room, which that's where the more brutal stuff. I mean, Legoshi gets his eye scratched, and then Legoshi scratches open Riz's wounds from, like, I'm assuming his previous battles, and Riz thinks that these marks are memories of him with Tim. I mean, there's a saying that every scar has a story, so I guess Riz is taking it to a much literal level. So, yeah, so anyway, point 9, we figure out more about Legoshi's past and lineage, and it turns out that he has a quarter of Komodo dragon blood within him, and his grandfather is a Komodo dragon, and his grandfather's name is Gosha, and he's absolutely precious. Absolutely precious. And I am so sorry if I ruined that experience for new readers. So anyway, this is my review. It's just I cannot hold this in any longer. So it's 1/4 of Komodo dragon blood within Legoshi. So we figure out more about Gosha's past when he was 17 years old. In like a little blurb from volume 10, he kind of looks like, I want to say, Josuke Joestar, the one with the hat, like this. You know, yada yada daze. I mean, sorry for the little butchering of weeb language here. It's just... oh, man. So, Legoshi has 1/4 of Komodo dragon blood within him. So... and I just thought this concept was absolutely great. I just absolutely love Gosha's design. Like, both him and Legoshi have the same type of illustrated eyes in their face. And I thought that was just an interesting and really nice detail for them. So, okay. Point 11. Legoshi and Riz will have their final battle on New Year's Eve. Now, I think the final battle will take like somewhere near the back alley market entrance, like some sort of bridge area. But I will save that for my Volume 11 review, and I'll get around to it when I get around to it. I just upload these videos whenever I can. It's just whenever I can reread them. I'm just really busy over here, so just saying, just bear with me. So yeah, I really do hope that the final battle would just be as big and epic and Legoshi ends up on top. And I'm really rooting for Legoshi on this one. I really hope he can really knock some sense into Riz after the heinous act that he did towards Tim. So, anyway, point 12. Peanut crosses paths with Riz. Now, I'm going to make this point quick. It's just a simple point where Peanut crosses paths with Riz in the boys' bathroom, and Riz ends up smelling some honey off of Peanut's fingers, and so Riz just ends up sucking the honey, or sucking and licking the honey off of his middle finger, like middle and index finger, and this sheer panic on Peanut's face. Like, it was just literally a stare that was like a deer caught in the headlights, mostly. Just that sheer shiver down your spine kind of terror, like you can't move, but you really cannot believe what you are witnessing, and so you're just frozen within that singular moment in time. And Peanut just ends up passing out from that moment, because at first Riz like threatens Peanut with like, I'll start to eat your head first. And then Peanut retorts back, no, I think my horns would get in the way. I think you should start with my legs or something like that. just, why would you do that? Run if you could. If you can. So, Pina, I love you. That's a given. I love all these characters. That's another given. So, yeah. So, anyway, point 13. Legoshi tells Louis about his New Year's Eve battle with Riz when they both are at the back alley bar. Now, Legoshi, he's not just going in a typical school uniform. First, we have his identity as Haruo, and now we got Lego-shi, Lego S-H-E. I'll probably put a text of it within this video, if not, but the sheer look on Louis' face when he sees this disguise of Legoshi's, and he's just like sheerly terrified, and he's just like, oh, I cannot unsee this. And it's just, poor guy, he cannot keep this big dumb wolf from trying to kill himself in a variety of different ways. First, he gets the shit beat out of him from Riz, twice from Volume 7, and then Volume 10 now, and now Volume 11, but I'll leave that to when I get to that review, when I can. So anyway, they end up meeting at a bar, and Legoshi, he's fully decked out in a dress. I don't know what color it is. I mean, mascara, eyelashes. I mean, Dr. Frankenfurter, Tim Curry, would be proud of this guy. So, oh, I'm sorry. I am sorry. So, it's just, thinking back of this panel, it's just, it almost has me in tears of like absolute humor, and so anyway, Legoshi ends up telling Louis about his battle with Riz on New Year's Eve, but Louis wants to stay within the Shishigumi as the boss. So it's just a really nice brotherly verbal conflict between the two. Like, Louis thinks he has to end up killing Legoshi just so he stops getting into stupid situations like this, and I just find it really funny. It's just, I love Legoshi so much. It's like a more edgier version of Goofy, in my opinion. It's like, that's the kind of vibes I get from Legoshi sometimes. It's really hard to put into words, but I'm just really enjoying this journey from the manga, so yeah. So, for my last point, this was a really solid volume. We get to figure out more why Riz ate Tim within this volume. We get to see more clashing points between some characters and all that. And we finally get to see some setup for the final battle. So anyway, apologies profusely for saying who the killer is within this volume. It was really hard for me to not say who it was within Volume 9. So I'm just going to say it here. Rip it off like a band-aid, whatever you're going to call it. And, you know, I give this volume an 8.5 out of 10. So I'm really enjoying this series as a whole, and I'll get around to reviewing Volume 11 whenever I can. So yeah, this is Kite562 signing out, and as always, Beastars is written and illustrated by Paru Itagaki and published by Viz Media, and these review videos will have some spoilers. So yeah, this is Kite562 signing out, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody. Later.